Next on stage, Gustavo. So, who here has ever designed location systems, RTLS, anyone? So plenty of you have dealt with that. Gustavo actually is from São Paulo, right? Yeah. Brazil, and that's the most dangerous city in the world. But many of you know that it's nothing compared to facing the customer after an RTLS deployment. I've done that for years, so I should know. Gustavo Mastroianni, ladies and gentlemen. Take a look. You too.
All right. Good morning, everyone. So my presentation today is going to be about an academic paper on Wi-Fi location-based and analytics services in shopping malls. All right. So this is going to be the agenda. I'm going to talk a little bit about myself, then talk about MBA in IT, which is the course that I'm taking, the steps on doing an academic paper, the steps of the research of this academic paper, both academic and business-wise, why I chose Wi-Fi location-based and analytics services in shopping malls, and also how the Brazilian market is. If we have some time, I'll also give you a quick view of my academic paper, and if we have time, if you want to, we can do a Q&A session, or you can reach me afterwards. So, about me. My name is Gustavo Mastroianni. You can reach me on my Twitter handle @GugaMastroianni. I'm Brazilian. I'm 31 years old, married, and a father of a little girl. My role as a wireless LAN engineer at BT, I'm a lead mobility network designer at British Telecom. I'm also a CWNP instructor at Red Inter, one of the sponsors of this great conference. I'm also the CWNE number 225, a CWNT for most of the courses that CWNP offers, CWNA, SP, DP, and AP. I'm also a member of the CWNE Board of Advisors, so you guys that want to apply for the CWNE, you're probably going to go through me. Then I'm also a member of the Wireless LAN Association, so it's a new association that we are going to learn a little bit about it in this conference. And I'm also back in Brazil. We built a community. We are trying to build a community on Wi-Fi, and we even had a session. We even have a conference back in February, which we called Mobility Brazil Community. All right. So about the MBA in IT, which I'm taking in Brazil. So it's a Master of Business Administration in Information Technology. I'm taking this course at the Polytechnical School of the University of São Paulo. So it's one of the well-known universities in Latin America. Actually, it is a post-graduation focused in business. So you will learn a little bit about the technical aspects of IT, and it's not focused on very specific topics, but it's very widespread along IT. So you'll learn about a little bit of development, network, and how to softwares. So, but also you learn a little bit about strategy and how to deal during some kind of deal that you might have in the future. It's all 390 hours of classes. So it took me around a year and a half to take all of these classes. I spread it among 13 subjects. And these 13 subjects, you take 3 every quarter, 3 for 2 quarters, and 2 on every single quarter when you get the 13 subjects. And in the end, you get to do the academic papers. The University of São Paulo is very research-driven, so over there, it's not, you can focus on business, but you also focus on the academic point of view of the paper. So I have to do the academic paper on 120 hours, and between these 120 hours, I only have around 6 hours to learn how to do it. The professors would come to us, would give us a teaching on how to do it, and then it's all up to you how you're going to handle these 120 hours. After you're done with your academic paper, you present this to the board of professors. So you have one professor leading you to give you the best academic paper. It will help you to design and write the best academic paper. But then when you're done, you're going to have like 3 professors, all of them with doctors or master's degree. So they're going to ask you how you do it, and what you do, why you chose this topic. And if you're good when you're presenting your academic paper, you get approved. And once you get approved, you celebrate, right? Because then you got your MBA. All right, so let's go over on what are the steps on doing an academic paper. First of all, you have to choose a subject that you're familiar with. So don't try to choose a subject that you are not familiar, because you're going to struggle with it, you're going to take longer, and you don't have that much time to do it. So be aware that if you choose a topic, make sure you at least have read about it in the past, or you work with it. You'll make your life easier. Within that subject, you need to find out a gap or a problem that you could propose a solution to it, because that's what the academic paper is all about for MBA. You need to propose a solution to make to your future customer, because this paper, the purpose of this paper is to give to your customer, to someone in the business, and if they see that they have that same gap that you're proposing, they can, for example, buy your project. So that's one of the purposes of the academic paper. You need to be very specific. So you don't need to try to solve all of the world's problems. So that's why, for example, I focused on shopping malls and not retail stores, not convention centers, not stadiums. I focused on shopping malls. So you need to be very specific on it. It must be both academic and business-wise. So in regards of the academic, you need to know that you need to make sure you have to find and look for academic papers about the subject that you chose. And also, you need to make sure that your proposal can be used in the business, all right? Then, after you chose your subject, you search for the academic papers and books that will help you and are related to the subject that you have chosen, that will help you to write your paper. Think of a title, which is very important, because if you don't have a title, you don't have a paper. So think of a title for your academic paper and stick with it until the end. A small tweak is acceptable, but if you change a lot your title, you will see that you're going to waste time, because you have researched for that subject that you have chosen before. And if you don't do that, it's just a waste of time. And as I told you, we just have 120 hours to make sure that we present this to the board of professors and get approved. All right, so the academic paper is divided into 4 major chapters. The first one is the introduction. So you have to come up with the problem. So what is the problem that I'm trying to solve in shopping malls? So the shopping malls, they want to acquire more customers and understand the customer behavior, what they do when they are shopping, or even, are they shopping? Are they just walking around? They go to the food court or not? So if I have a problem, so to solve that problem, I have a goal, which is propose a Wi-Fi location-based and analytics services. And what is the reason of that problem, and what is the reason that I'm trying to reach that goal? One of them is the smartphones boom. So 5 years ago, we did not have that much of smartphones on our pockets. Most of us have 2 smartphones, and we always want to be connected to the internet or to the Wi-Fi and not use our 3G data, 4G data, internet access, and social media, right? Then we go to the methodology, how I was looking for and how I did my research. So I did the problem specification, I specified the problem, both on academic and business-wise. I did the research, I went through, I interviewed some shopping malls, some businesses, and of course, I looked for academic paper and books, which are very important. And also going through the proposal of the solution and how was the analysis of this solution and the problem. And in the end, there's in the end of the first chapter, the paper structure. The paper structure outlines what each one of the chapters is talking about. It's just a little summary of what the reader can expect from each one of the chapters. Then we go to the second chapter, the theoretical foundation. The theoretical foundation, everyone that reads your paper needs at least to make sure that they know a little bit about Wi-Fi. So if they are not a Wi-Fi guy, we need to make sure that they know, we can explain it to them, the basics and the fundamentals of Wi-Fi. So the first piece of the chapter is I go through the OSI models, the frame types, management, control, and data frames. So it's just a little brief overview of them. Then I go to the location basics, the location fundamentals, Wi-Fi location fundamentals. So I talk a little bit about CSMA, CA, the frequencies that Wi-Fi operates, which is the 2.4 and the 5 gigahertz bands, location methods, angle of arrival, time of arrival, time difference of arrival, and RSSI. And then the next step is I go through the Wi-Fi in shopping malls, location, how the location is, how the location and analytics merge together, how the shopping malls can use that information to make sure that they can understand their customer and try to offer them better quality of experience. Also, if we have Wi-Fi, we will offer internet access as well. And last but not least, if you're running an operation support under your shopping malls and under Wi-Fi, if something happens in a place, in the bathroom, for example, you can use Wi-Fi to call the guys and say, hey, I have some problem here, so come up and help me here. And also the shopping mall challenges. So what are the challenges of the shopping malls? I've talked to a shopping mall chain in Brazil. They have spread it out 40 shopping malls spread out throughout the whole Latin America. And the thing that they want for the past 3 years, and they are struggling to get it, is to increase the number of the visitors and increase the sales per customer, because that's what helps, and that's what makes the shopping malls make more money, and the stores also make more money. So they need to know how they can acquire more customers. All right, so now we go to the proposal of this to solve this problem that the shopping malls are having. This is the third chapter. Then now we go, so since we're proposing to solve the problem that they are having, we need to make sure we propose an infrastructure solution. In my academic paper, I'm not taking into account that the shopping mall does not have any kind of infrastructure, any Wi-Fi infrastructure. So I go through all the infrastructure, all the devices that they need, the diagram, the basic. It's a high-level diagram, of course. It's not saying how many switches, how many routers, how many APs, how many controllers. It's just a matter of telling them what are the well-known devices that they need to make sure that they have in their infrastructure. The design process. We all know, and everyone here that went through the CWDP or we will go through the CWDP, the design process. First of all, we need to define what we need to deliver. Then we design it. After we design it, we go ahead and deploy it. And then last, and I think that's the mandatory, we need to validate what we have deployed. Because if we don't validate, it's going to be trouble every time. Then I talk about location. Location, since it's a location-based paper, I need to make sure that I talk about location. So I talk about the hot zones. So there are hot zones in shopping malls. For example, in the food court. Of course, most of the people that goes to a shopping mall on the weekends, sometimes, at least back in Brazil, sometimes most of them, they go to the food court and have lunch, have dinner, have a snack. So this is an example of hot zone. Also, the paths that your customers are taking when they are shopping. So when they walk into the shopping mall, and then what are the paths that they take? They go ahead and go to a specific store that they like, or they like to just walk around, spend 2 hours just walking, and then they decided to go and buy any product. And about the push notifications, this goes along with the next topic, which is analytics. So when you merge location to analytics using social login, because it's one of the ways that you can get to know your customer. You will have more information about them if this information from social login is available, is publicly available. So you use social login. With that in hands, you can get to know a little bit better about them. You can engage with them. And with this engagement, you can send them some notifications. For example, if the customer is walking through the shopping malls and goes to a store, that store he's a loyal customer of it. Sometimes through location and analytics, the system can send a notification, a push notification to their cell phone saying, here is a coupon, an offer, or something that will make that customer happier, because since he's a loyal customer, or if he wants to become a customer, that's just a way to engage them with the store and with the shopping mall. And also, I give my final thoughts about it. So in this academic paper, I'm totally vendor neutral. I do not mention any vendor that has location-based analytics services. And the thing is, when you are proposing this kind of a project, you need to make sure that the stakeholders will support you during the whole process. Since from the beginning, since they hired you to make the project happen, until the end, when you validate and say, hey, customer, here we go. You can start analyzing your customer, and then we can start from here. And the last chapter is the conclusion. Of course, you need, since we are talking about an academic paper, there's an introduction, the fundamentals about your project, what your project is all about, and then a conclusion. So I talk about the challenges that I faced. So research. The only way that I got to some sources of the academic papers that I used as a base, it was because the university that I studied at, they had some kind of agreements. They have a lot of agreements with, for example, IEEE. So that helped me a lot to look for academic papers. If it wasn't that, I would be in trouble, or I would have to look for some way to pay for the IEEE Explore. Also, the challenges that in Brazil we are facing, we need more Wi-Fi professionals to make sure that we can handle this project to someone that could handle end-to-end and do what is right to make sure it works. And for every single project that we face, as you might know, the budget. So most of the times you need to, the budget is not the same as the total of the project. So we need to make sure that we accommodate and make everyone happy. Also, I talk about the expected benefits. So as soon as we deploy it, as soon as we go ahead and tell the shopping malls, you can go ahead and start looking at your customers. The expected benefits is to acquire more customers and to acquire more sales per customers, because as soon as when the shopping mall gets more money, they can reinvest on that same shopping malls in other things, or they can even grow their own chain. That's what happens in Brazil. And also the future work. How can I use this academic paper for future work? For example, here I'm talking about Wi-Fi location based. We can use, for example, BLE, Bluetooth Low Energy, for location. It's another way to go, and could be another paper in the future. We can use the same concept that we use in Wi-Fi. We can use a few concepts from Wi-Fi in using BLE. Also, the CRM integration. One of the things that the shopping malls were asking to the vendors, and was very specific to this shopping mall chain, they were asking to do some kind of integration with their CRM system. So every time that a customer makes a purchase, they wanted to make sure that the CRM system can log that, and then they will make sure that they have more. For example, if a customer go ahead and buy $3,000 in products in a shopping mall, or even in a store in a shopping mall, they wanted to know that who is that guy who is buying $3,000. They wanted to make sure that in the next time that they come to the shopping mall, they will treat them better, treat him better, because that's the way it works. The more money the shopping mall gets, the better. Then, that was all of the chapters of my academic paper. So this I'm going to talk about right now is the steps of my research, both academic and business-wise. So academic, there are books. We need to read some books to get to know about Wi-Fi, how we can describe Wi-Fi location and analytics. So you'll be familiar with some of these books that I used as a baseline. So the CWNA study guide, the CWAP study guide as well, the CWDP study guide, next generation wireless LANs 802.11n and 802.11ac, and a very specific book on the location subject is the wireless LAN positioning systems. Then, as I told you guys, the IEEE Explore, if it wasn't because of my university had an agreement with with the IEEE, I could not find most of the papers that I got and I used as a baseline for my academic paper. So I got into the IEEE, looked for conference publications and journals and magazines. Also, Google Scholar is a great way to find some of the academic papers. So you can, if I'm not wrong, it's scholar.google.com. You can just go ahead and browse it. About business-wise, I have interviews with shopping malls marketing team because these are the main guys that drive how you get to know your customer, how do you even promote and do some discounts, offers to your customers. So these are the guys that I need to first talk about. They told me about their challenges, which is acquire more customers and increase their sales per customer. What are your forecasts for the next between 2 and 5 years? How they want to grow, how they want to increase their sales? And what are the new opportunities that they can offer? And what are the new opportunities that we, as a wireless engineer, offering this kind of a solution to the shopping malls? What are the new opportunities in the future? Also, even though I do not mention any vendor, we need to know what the vendors can offer, right? Because it's infrastructure, they are devices, and we need to make sure that they are available in the market. So I had some interviews with some vendors in Brazil. I got into the website, webinars, I watched the webinars on location and analytics, conferences, and slide decks that you can find on the internet. And why I chose this specific subject, Wi-Fi location-based and analytics services in shopping malls. First of all, as Tom said to all of us, you have to love Wi-Fi, and that's what I do. I love Wi-Fi. This is the main drive that I've chosen this subject for my academic paper. Then I wanted to understand how location and analytics works from academic point of view. It's not only about what the vendor says, but it's all about what the guys that have a master's degree, that they have doctor's degree, those guys that keep researching it, doing some tests on the universities. And also understand solutions available in the market. So it's not about the theory, because we had to apply the theory to the practice. We need to deploy it. And this, it's not, you can use this academic paper, for example, not only to shopping malls, but you can apply it to other venues like convention centers, like stadiums, or retail stores. You can use that, but you can, for example, remodel it or try to be very specific to that specific venue. And also, as all of us, we like to generate new opportunities, more projects, because when you get more projects, you get more expertise on it, and you get better on it, and this is how it goes. So the more opportunities you have to deploy it, to do what you love to do, the better. Then I'm going to talk about a little bit about the Brazilian market, how the Brazilian market is right now for both Wi-Fi and location-based analytics services. So the shopping malls do provide internet access, even though most of the times are not that good, but they do provide it. But when they provide it, it's just for a short period of time, for example, 30 minutes. So it's not too much. Most of the people that goes to a shopping mall, they don't go for They don't walk around for 30 minutes only. They do walk around for most of them, between an hour and 2 hours. The infrastructure are not owned by the shopping malls. Most of the shopping malls, they let the ISPs do that work for them. So most of the Wi-Fi infrastructure are run by the third-party companies. And we, at least in Brazil, we all know this, but there is a huge gap between North America and Brazil in regards of any kind of technology. It's not specific to Wi-Fi. And why is that? Because in Brazil, we have high taxes, federal, state, and import. Most of the times, when you buy any device that is imported, it gets to Brazil by tripled, 3 times of the price. So it's not good for us sometimes. And nowadays, we have the currency exchange. For example, US dollars to Brazilian real. It's still not good for us as well. All of the political situation and economical situation of Brazil right now is not good. So these are some things that hold us off on some of the projects that you guys here in the US have the opportunity to have, and we don't due to some of these things. But in Brazil, we do have some tryouts going on, and a few full projects being deployed. So few full projects already sold, ordered, and being deployed. So that's a good thing, right? At least we are moving forward with this kind of subject. Also, one of the things that the shopping malls told me is they need to have a better understanding of the value of the solution. Because think like this: you as a VAR, for example, go to a shopping mall and say, hey, I want to propose you a Wi-Fi location-based analytics services and infrastructure. But you need to convince them. You need to tell them why they need that kind of service in place for that shopping mall. But from the vendors, from what I got from the vendors, is that they did not understand, or they did a good job on transmitting that opportunity to the shopping malls. So that's why most of the shopping malls were holding off and say, hey, just give me Wi-Fi and internet access, and I'm good with it. Also, if they understand it, how it works, why they can use that solution, most of the time they try to monetize it. And monetizing it, it's generate money. We all know that to run an infrastructure, it costs money, right? But also they try to monetize it in a way like doing marketing campaigns. The web portal, for example, you can be sponsored. You can sponsor the web portal. So these are the ways they are trying to figure out to monetize it, to get some money out of it. And last but not least, we need more Wi-Fi pros in Brazil. We don't have a lot of Wi-Fi pros. We have a few of them, but we don't have as much as we would like to have. So that's one of the things that CWNP is doing, and doing great. I'm going to give you a quick view of my academic paper. It is written in Brazilian Portuguese, and it will be at the university's library as soon as it gets approved. So it's not approved yet. It's still a work in progress, but it's kind of like 95% done. I just need the okay from my professor. Okay, so let me just go ahead and show you guys. So all right, so here's the beginning. It's all in Brazilian Portuguese. Who I thank for, the abstract. Oh, here is a little bit of English. You guys can understand it. So it's all about what the academic paper is all about. So the list of pictures, some of these terms you are very aware of. Then the summary. Then here's the introduction. So I go through. There are some pictures that we might know. Here's the OSI model, but it's in Portuguese. The state diagram of the CSM-ACA. I translated that, so I had to do a translation because it has to be all in Portuguese, unless you can translate that. You can't translate that to English. The bands, 2.4 and 5 gigahertz. I talk a little bit about Wi-Fi in shopping malls in Brazil. The diagram, for example, this is a high-level diagram. It's not low-level design. Talk about location. For us to have a location-based analytics services, we need to have the floor plan. So this is an example of a floor plan of the shopping mall. How to determine an area that needs to be monitored. The triangulation between 3 APs, at least. Doing some kind of a reference points, so you collect some information offline, and then when the customer is walking around, you have a more accurate location from it. The hot zones that I spoke about, so there are some places in the shopping malls that are hotter than other places, so there are more people on it, so the red ones means that there are more people. Internal navigation, so you can go from one point to another point. You can use that to propose that to the shopping malls. Social login, the client, which client is, if he's a shopper, if he's just go to the shopping mall to eat. And that's about it. Some dashboard and the conclusion. And then, of course, I have to reference all of the books and all of the academic papers that I used as a base for my academic paper. Let's come back to the presentation. All right, so I'm not sure if you guys have any questions, but if you do, I'm free to ask, to answer it. And sure. That I got.
About the hot zone and where that information was generated from.
So you mean that picture? Yeah. So I got from internet. I got the source, so I put the source over there. The website, when I browsed on the internet, that the specific date, and I got from internet. It's just an example. I'm not here on my academic paper. I'm not being specific on one shopping mall. I'm being very generalist to every shopping mall. Right.
And knowing that shopping malls are involved, do you have to address any regulatory type bodies like US or the FCC in Europe or the ETSI or something or another? Do you guys have that concern there for the shopping malls with agreements and non-disclosure, or also government regulations in your country?
Actually, actually, we are, no, I did not get in touch with the regulation body back in Brazil. And I don't, we use this, we have a regulatory domain for Brazil, specifically. Actually, it's the same for North America. We use the same. The difference is just the final letter for the regulatory domain, but we don't use things different from North America. We actually use the same. So it's kind of like I didn't get in touch with them, just with the shopping center because it's specific to the shopping center. This could be, for example, an improvement or even a future work for my academic paper. Right? Okay, thank you. Sure.
Since this is an MBA program, right, for Masters of Business Administration, is there discussion in the paper about the business? I mean, I know you talked a little bit about the requirements for getting more customers in and selling more product, but is there a deeper analysis of the business case for saying, why do I want to invest in upgrading the Wi-Fi and putting in this kind of system for, you know, enhancing business and what my return on investment would be for a shopping center and investing in this type of project?
It is mostly around the things that I told you. It is mostly around acquiring more customers and try and get more sales per customer. So this is the main drive because this is what they told me. We don't care about anything else. We need to get more customers, and those customers that we get and our current customers, we need to make sure that we get them to buy some products from the shopping malls. So everything from a business-wise, it goes all around these two things: getting more customers, acquiring more customers, and also more sales per customers. That's what I've heard from the shopping mall chain from Brazil.
I'm just surprised that there wasn't anything quantitative around in terms of, you know, this is how much we're willing to spend, and then this is how much return, you know, this is how much we want to really kind of see sales. Because, I mean, if I'm a shopping mall owner, right, I want to charge my stores more rent.
Yeah.
Right, which means I want their sales to increase so that they can afford more rent because I'm a shopping mall owner, right? So I want to draw more people in so that they buy more so that my tenants can pay more rent, right?
Yeah.
So those are very quantitative numbers that I think you calculate.
Yeah, I did not go that deep with them because since it's just an academic paper, I don't need to show numbers. Even though there is the business-wise part of it, I don't need to then show numbers. I don't need to tell them, hey, you need to deploy 200 APs. You need to deploy 30 switches. No, it's not about it. It's about academic point of view, but you have to include the business, some part of the business and how we can help the business with our academic paper. That's about it. It's not a full project. It's not a sales pitch to the shopping mall. Sure.
In your discussions with the marketing departments, how did they receive this information? Did they see value in what you were proposing? How did your discussions with them go?
They did see value, but one of the things they were asking for is the CRM integration because the example that I gave you guys, they wanted to know who spent more money, and they want to treat better that guy that spent more money than that guy that goes to the shopping mall and just go and have a bite to eat at the food cart. So they want to make sure that they can, as soon as they get the information from the stores that that guy bought $3,000 in products, and as soon as they get that, they want to treat that customer better. They, for example, give them free parking spot in the parking lot, or come here the next day, and you're gonna get a free ice cream, something like that. You know, they want to do some marketing around it for those guys that spend more money. That's why they wanted CRM integration, because they already knew some of the Wi-Fi location based, but they don't. I don't think they want that, because they are trying to figure out how to monetize it. That's why one of the things is CRM integration. The CRM integration, they would get that information and try to make sure that they get more customers with it, analyzing it with the location and analytics system. Merge both of them and get information and get like a report from it. That's what they are mostly asking for it.
Are you aware of any installations or projects that take advantage of your paper?
Not yet, because it's not even published. It's not even approved. As I said, it's in a work in progress. 95% is done. I just need a go-ahead from my professor that is backing me up, and I'm going to schedule the interview with the board of professors, hopefully for the next month, and then hopefully get approved as well. There is your first question. It can be used. Because it will be at the university's library, so it's public. It's a public university. You can go there and look for my paper. And your second question is, of course, there are some issues, regulatory issues, but I think as soon as if there is an agreement between the store, between the shopping mall, and the client, of course it can happen. Yeah. Sure. There is a little bit about triangulation, about the main ways of triangulate the signal, which is angle of arrival, time of arrival, and time difference of arrival, and RSSI. But my paper focused on RSSI, so I do not use any kind of a TDOA, TOA, or AOA. I just mention it, talk about a little bit, but you will see that all my paper is based on RSSI only. Yeah. And that I talk about that on the design process. So you need to design it properly and make sure that you have the reference points. So when you have the reference points and you design properly, the chances that the location is accurate are greater than when you just deploy it and you don't have any kind of reference points on your map. Yeah, that's a good way. Sure. Any other questions? All right. Thank you, guys. Appreciate it.